Hi there, this is Jonathan Ginsberg. I'm an Atlanta area personal bankruptcy attorney, and recently I was corresponding by email with a potential client who expressed concern that if she was to file bankruptcy, the budget she would have to live on under bankruptcy would be so tight that she would be basically eating bread and water for the next 5 years in a Chapter 13. And it got me thinking that there probably are some misconceptions out there about bankruptcy budgets and what they mean and how strict you have to be. So let me try to clarify what the bankruptcy court has allowed us to do over the years and that I've been doing for well over 25 years. First of all, there's an assumption that if you propose a reasonable budget, you'll be okay. And what I mean by reasonable is you're going to have a need for rent or a mortgage payment, utilities, gas, electricity, water. You're allowed cable TV, you're allowed cell phones, you're allowed medical care, you're allowed a little bit of recreation. Again, you can't go crazy with it, but no one's going to object if you have a newspaper subscription or go to the movies periodically. Insurance, life insurance, health insurance, even dental insurance. And you can even have expenses for school costs or extracurricular activities, things like that. Your kids' dance lessons or baseball equipment. So there's no reason to think that when you go into bankruptcy, you're going to be asked to live this Spartan budget. In fact, one of the budgets that we have to deal with when we start a bankruptcy case is something called the means test. And the means test is basically a qualification. It's a ticket in. And we have to use a budget that was developed by the bankruptcy court in association with the IRS, and the IRS budget that's used when people are trying to do a tax compromise or offer in compromise or installment agreement. And the budget that we use in bankruptcy is based on that, but actually the bankruptcy version of it is a good bit more generous than what the IRS allows you. So certainly the IRS budget, we are trying to reduce the amount of tax debt you have is pretty Spartan, but the bankruptcy version of that is probably about 30% more generous. So while again you can't expect you're going to be able to take luxurious vacations or buy things that are big screen TVs, things like that, as long as you are reasonable, you work with your attorney, you're not going to be living on bread and water or peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Again, you just can't be greedy. You have to just be reasonable about it. But this is one of the things that when I meet with my clients, we do a budget, and I'll point out these are some items that I think you probably need to forego. These are items that are okay. And it's a case-by-case type of basis, but generally I can tell you that after 25 plus years of doing this, very rarely do I have to tell a client, you are spending way too much in your monthly budget. Normally by the time they get to me, people have already pruned their budget to the point where they've gotten rid of everything that is non-essential anyway. So the bankruptcy court is not going to make you live like a monk or a prisoner where you have nothing at all left over and you simply have to, again, exist on bread and water. But you do want to talk to your attorney about that. If I'm your attorney, we'll put together a budget, work up a budget that is reasonable, that will pass muster. And again, worst comes to worst, if the trustee objects to some item in the budget, we'll adjust it and reduce that item so that we pass the qualifications from the trustee and any creditor objections. But again, I will tell you that after 25 plus years of this, budgets are rarely the issue. Usually the problem is either not enough money to fund a Chapter 13, or it could be that a person wants to keep a house and they've not been able to make the mortgage payments and just paying on the debts. I think once you get into bankruptcy, generally the trustees and the creditors want a reasonable case to work, and that's what we are trying to do. So if you rely on an experienced attorney's advice, you should be just fine with regard to your bankruptcy budget. So hope you found this helpful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up on YouTube and like it on Facebook. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and let me know if you have any suggestions for future videos or any comments or questions about bankruptcy in general. So this is Jonathan Ginsberg, wishing you the best. Thanks a lot.